Hello and welcome to another episode of Tunes and Chill. My name's Sam and today we're here at the House of the Peaks to talk to them about their debut album, Grow Up, Grow Down. And here they are with an upcoming single, Wanaka.
I wanna go to the country. I wanna drive past your window and steal you away. I wanna leave, pack up my suitcase and forget those days of hell. I wanna walk through the Indian jungle. I wanna ride along with you. I wanna grow bamboo and freesias. I wanna stare out my window and see you standing there. I wanna call like chitty chitty bang bang. I want those toots sweet souls, toffee treats right now. Baby, I know sometimes I get so angry, but I'm trying to control myself.
So I'm Fraser, Henry from the band The Peaks. We're a Melbourne-based indie folk trio. We started a couple of years ago, been working on a few, some songs, and finally we've got together to make a full album. So we're releasing that in a couple of months, which is exciting. We had a song come out 2 weeks ago, Don't Tell Your Mama, which has had some really great response. So yeah, in late July the album's coming out, so looking forward to it. Hamish is the drummer. We met we went to primary school together and high school, and he lives around the corner, which is pretty easy. So when we started playing music, I could just walk around with my guitar and play, and he made ripper ham and cheese toasted sandwiches. So it was a good idea to start learning guitar and get some free lunches. Yeah, this has been a pretty special place for me over my life. So we moved in here about 15 years ago, this house, and this was the garage, you could probably tell. And it had the garage door and that sort of thing. And then after a while, I was sharing with my older brother, and I got to about 14 years old. I'm like, nah, I need my own space. So I came down here and we put a wall up over the garage, roller door, and then we carpeted it. So it was still pretty cold, but I moved in here. So I slept in here for about 5 years. And I was getting too cold there. All the winter, it was just like, winter air was tough, but it was a good space to be, have to my own. And then eventually got into music about the same age. So then just kept instruments, and then I eventually moved out of this room and just heaps of instruments came in. So yeah, and now I've got there's heaps of stuff, a lot of storage, but I've got my my beer stuff over here and cheese making kit, and so I've got all different hobbies and stuff that I do in here, and yeah, it's a cool room. I've written a lot of music in here as well. This album is definitely a step forward for us in terms of probably getting a more consistent idea and sound. I think stuff like Little Black Dog in our first EP that we did about 1.5 years ago was really good, and it was a good learning process. That was our first thing we recorded. I think that style, we've sort of moved a bit more towards folk since then, and a bit more of our own personality in the songs and that. So yeah, Little Black Dog does do that like cool little folky style and into a poppy chorus. I think on the new album we still retain that, but a little bit more folk. The new album's just more developed, more ideas, a bit more mature, and yeah, as I said, ourselves into it. I think it's always been a lot, I write the songs and bring them to the band, and then we work together to nut them out and finish the composition, but a lot of it's been in this room, writing a lot myself, or writing, you know, outside, out the backyard. Yeah, so it's probably mostly I start the songwriting process, do a chunk of it, and then we work on it. Sometimes I just get an inspiration from something and I feel and I'll make a couple of notes, but then I'll revisit it just like a while later. When I'm writing a new song and I'll just make some music and I'll get sort of a feeling, and then it'll just, you know, work its way into it, and then I sort of work past event, you know, experiences and that into it. Yeah, so it's sort of a dynamic. Sometimes it happens instantly, of a feeling that happened a week ago, or sometimes it takes a year or so. So I just played Wanaka. That was one of the songs on the album. It's coming up as it's our next single that we're going to release in about 5 weeks or so. Yeah, I went to New Zealand 1.5 years ago and did a drive through South Island. Went to Wanaka, which is in about the middle of the South Island, and it's just an awesome place. And it was just having a great time, and it's just beautiful snow-capped mountains and crystal lakes, that sort of thing. And the song just sort of talks about desires and dreams you have as you grow up, and how they change, whether they're ridiculous when you're a kid or unattainable, and then want things that are quite simple. And just, yeah, sort of a song that sort of just thinks about that and reflects on, you know, when you get older, you think about the dreams you did have as a young kid, and like, did it work out how you wanted? Is everything like, are you the person you thought you'd be? That sort of stuff, that's what it sort of reflects on. So yeah, it's a pretty simple track. I wrote it 3 days before we started recording the album. So I was like, and I went to the boys, I'm like, this song, I think it's, you know, it's got a nice, I think it'll be good on the album. And they were a bit hesitant because we'd worked on, you know, about 12 songs for a couple of months. And they were sort of, yeah, a bit hesitant to put it in, but I'm like, no, I got a good feeling about it. So yeah, we went into the studio, recorded it like a week later. The cover I chose to play today was the Cat Dog theme song. I think definitely when you're starting off as a young kid and you're watching TV shows, their music is sort of definitely your first entry point into your love of music and the imagination and sort of that creativity. So, you know, growing up in the 90s, there was heaps of great songs on heaps of different shows. So Cat Dog was definitely one that stood out, and I thought this would be a ripper track to play as a representative of my childhood. So when I was putting it together, I thought it's got a cool like blues sort of acoustic sort of vibe. So I thought I'd do plucking, start it, and then move into a bit more of a upbeat style, which is probably a bit more true to the rhythm of the original song.
One fine day with a wolf and a bird, baby was born and caused a little stir. No blue buzzard, no three-eyed frog, just a canine, feline, little cat dog, cat dog, cat dog. Alone in the world is a little cat dog. Out on the road or back in town, all kinds of critters putting cat dog down. Gotta rise above it, gotta try to get along, gotta work together, gotta sing this song. Cat dog, cat dog. Alone in the world is the little cat dog. Cat dog, cat dog. Alone in the world is the little cat dog. One fine day with a wolf and a bird, baby was born and it caused a little stir. No blue buzz, sing this song. Cat dog, cat dog. Alone in the world is a little cat dog. Cat dog, cat dog. Cat dog, cat dog. Alone in the world is a little, alone in the world is a little cat dog.
There's been just a little bit of a movement with folk has become a popular sound, and that indie vibe with reverby guitars and that sort of style has become more popular, I think, with bands like Ben Howard. He's very folky with the electric guitar that has reverbs and a lot of effects. So I think folk songwriting's come back into it a lot, and just that mix and movement of music, it seems to be very popular now. Yeah, living in Williamstown and growing up in this town has been a big influence for the band and our writing and that sort of thing. It's a nice little suburb, just tucked away a little bit. So just having the beach and the little shops and stuff like that has helped with the writing and imagination and different stories that come through our songs. Definitely think Australian music has had a storytelling vibe to it for, you know, since it's begun. Yeah, as Paul Kelly, Angus and Julia Stone, Crowded House in the late, the 80s and 90s. They've always had a strong storytelling, ethos, if you say, to their music, and it's definitely an Australian way. I think we grew up because we've, the history of Australia, coming over from England and just getting around the pub and always telling stories, and everyone, has a yarn to tell. So it's come through the music, which is great, I reckon. So to finish off the album, we did a possible crowdfunding sort of setup, so we could get, it was more like so we could get the fans engaged in the the album and get sort of a bit of heat around it, and also obviously getting the people to buy stuff so we could use the cash to finish off mastering and the recording. I think it's a really good system because a lot of the fans are going to buy it once it's produced, but it's hard to get all the money together when you're at uni or just working part-time. So you get the money up front, finish off the album and get people excited about it, and we had some pretty cool little things people could buy on the possible. We had a ham and cheese toasty day, so we haven't done it yet. It's got to come up in the next couple of months. So it was $10 and you can get a couple of ham and cheese toasties from the infamous Hamish, he makes a ripper one. So we got a few people buying that, so we have to set that up, and we'll probably play a bit of the album there as well. We've got our album launch coming up on July 30th at Ding Dong Lounge, so I'm really excited for that. It's going to be really great to finally have the album out and everyone can listen to all the hard work we've been doing over the past 6 months. I think the album's sort of our first big piece of art, so I think it's sort of our first entry into probably the scene. So it's exciting to do the album, get it out there, see what people are thinking, and we've booked a few shows to do a tour, Brisbane and Sydney, Newcastle, so that's coming together nicely in August. And then beyond that, we'll have to see. I'd love to, go overseas and play a few shows with the album and see what happens, but I guess just growing fans and getting music out there so people can appreciate it. If a few people buy the album and it makes their, day a bit happier, then that's what it's all about.